Our topic today is more information has not made us wiser. So, this is a very easy topic since we are starting after 10 days. So, if you think about it, this topic has a more current affairs vibe to it. More information has not made us wiser. So, what constitutes more information? If you think about it, the first thing that comes to mind is chat GPT and artificial intelligence. We also have YouTube and Instagram. We have this endless cycle of news. We have online tutorials. We have several newspapers that are available, and we have digital notes, can be for examinations, can be for other things. So we are all drowning in information, and these are the different channels through which we are getting our information. So whenever we are looking at any topic, we just take down the keyword and we jot down all the various thoughts and ideas that we are getting. So these are the thoughts that I am getting for the keyword more information. Now coming to the part where it has not made us any wiser. So here what I want to do is I want to explore why this much information has not made me any more wiser. What has happened that this information, instead of benefiting me, has in a way not benefited me or even harmed me. So what happens when you get this much information? First thing that happens is there is a lot of information overload. So you have multiplicity of sources, and thus there's a lot of confusion which source to rely on. There's also cognitive overload, this cognitive aspect of information overload. Then you have a false sense of expertise. For example, you have secured some digital notes of some subjects, and you can go through the notes and you think, okay, I've grasped the subject, when in reality you have not. You can use AI and chat GPT, and you can watch YouTube tutorials, and you can feel like an expert, but in reality you have no expertise like that. Thirdly, there is a lot of lack of effort due to AI. Nobody is doing their homework. Nobody is putting in the effort. Coders are not coding. Writers are not writing. Why? Because AI is doing most of the work for them. Fourthly, whenever we are getting a lot of information, there's a lot of FOMO. There's a lot of, the pace of consumption of information goes up way high. So whenever we are getting too much information, we are consuming it in a hasty manner. We are not giving it due time. We are not processing it adequately. Then there's you're not you're getting more information, but you're not growing any wiser. Why? Because you're also getting access to bad information. There are people who have used AI, who have jailbreaked ChatGPT and large language models to reveal the recipe of making methamphetamine and the recipes of making explosives. So, not all information is good and healthy information. So, there's a lot of access to bad, unhealthy information. Now, you also have a social media bias. Social media is being run by algorithms. Algorithms do not care about your holistic development. They care about is to hold you on the platform for as long as possible. So they create echo chambers and sensationalization of simple things, that is the norm. So all these factors, they come together and they prevent this availability of information from making any wiser. So now comes the question, what means to be wise? What is this word wiser? What does it signify? First thing that it signifies is a person who is wise, he is capable of putting information to use. He does not just know a lot of stuff, he can use the information that he has. Secondly, you're wise when you have a real understanding of the things that you know. You can watch 10 YouTube videos and read 20 newspapers, but unless there is a holistic, organic understanding of the thing that you've read, there is no wisdom, no learning. And there has to be a degree of moral alignment Whatever information you have consumed must come with a moral compass. Only then can you call yourself a wise person. Okay, so now we have gotten all the essay points laid out in front of us. We understand what we are going to talk about when we are going to talk about more information. We're going to talk about all these things. We understand how we are going to make a case for the fact that all this information has not made us any wiser, and we know what it means to be wise. Okay, so now what remains to be done is how we will, you know arrange these points in a coherent body of our essay. Okay, so let me show you the introduction that I have written. I like my introductions to, present my understanding of the topic right away. So I've started with Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Raja Ram Mohan Roy knew close to a dozen languages. When forget the internet, when you did not even have proper books. Okay, so Raja Ram Mohan Roy knew nearly a dozen languages when there was no internet, no proper books, nothing. He knew the Vedas, he knew the Upanishads, he knew a lot of things. And he used his knowledge to bring about a profound change in society. And thus, he had limited information and he used it information, and he consumed the information so as to, develop a kind of wisdom which he put to use. Whereas if you contrast Raja Ram Mohan Roy with an average person of this day and age, you will see that we have 1,000 times more information available to us, and we have 1,000 times less wisdom than this man. So this is our introduction that clearly shows I've used a contrasting example to lay out the understanding of the topic here. Okay, so now let us also take a look at what is the structure that we are going to follow. So here I have numbered all my points. A stands for more information. 1 2 3 4 point 1 2 3 4. These are the points of more information. B stands for the fact that how it has not made us any wiser. So again I have made these points 1 2 3 and 4. And C is for wiser, what it means to be wise. And I've written down these 3 points. So now I will lead with this. My essay, the engine of my essay will be this point: how the reasons why more information has not made us any wiser. So I will lead with B. So first I'll talk about B1. B1 is what? B1, information overload. Okay, so when I'm talking about information overload, what other points become significant, become important? Information overload is there. So look here: A4, A6, A3. A4 is what? A4 is endless news. So information overload, the best example is endless news. Then you have several newspapers very closely connected to endless news, several newspapers, endless perspectives and endless opinions. And A3, YouTube and Instagram. Now these also, they provide a lot of bias, a lot of overload of information. So my first point is B1, information overload, multiplicity of sources, confusion. So I have laid out what? I have laid out endless news, starting with endless news. Then I will talk about several newspapers. Then I will talk about YouTube and Instagram. Then I will talk about C2. C2 is what? Real understanding. I will show how we have information overload caused by endless news, several newspapers, YouTube, and Instagram, because of which multiplicity of sources, confusion is there, and we have no real understanding of the information that we're getting. Okay, then I'm coming to B2. B2 is what? A false sense of expertise. When I'm talking about B2, I'm talking about A512. 5 is online tutorials, 1 is digital notes, 2 is AI and ChatGPT. So A5 is online tutorials. Whenever you watch online tutorials, what do you feel? You feel like an expert, and you feel like an expert fast. But in reality, you have no expertise, very little understanding. Unless you do it, unless you apply yourself, unless you make mistakes and learn from them, there is no learning. Then I will talk about what digital notes. For example, you're preparing for the civil services and you get the topper notes and whatnot, and you feel really accomplished. Ki, okay, I've got this great source and I'm going to study from it. I'm going to get marks. It's a shortcut. I don't have to read the book. So yeah, you feel like an expert, but in reality, the understanding is not there. And AI ChatGPT, they it can make you feel like an expert really fast. So when I'm talking about B2, false sense of expertise, which does not make you any wiser despite having more information, then I will talk about C1. C1 is what? Capable of putting information to use. So you are an expert when you can put your information to practical fruitful use. So this is going to be my second point. So third point will be B3. B3 is lack of effort due to AI. So here I will use A2, A3, A1. A2 is AI chat GPT. It does all your work for you. A3 is YouTube and Instagram. They try to spoon feed information to you. And A1 is again digital notes and such things. So this is how I'm going to structure my essays for all of these points. One, I will lead my essay with this point. I will take each of these points. I will choose which one applies the best, and I will choose which part of wiser to apply here. And another thing, if you notice, when I'm taking B1, B1 is information overload. I'm ending with A3. A3 is YouTube and Instagram. Okay, it causes information overload. Then I'm using the same thing when I'm talking about YouTube and Instagram. I can very easily transition into the point of false sense of expertise. So this is how I'm going to, and this theme you will see in all the points that I have. So this is how I am trying to create a flow in my essay. So this is the overall structure. You can use several contrasting points. You can talk about people of the previous generations who did not have access to so much resources, and yet they knew a lot more than we know today. And you can also use a small counter whereby you can say that information overload, more information is not necessarily a bad thing. We as individuals must know how to manage the information available to us and how to put it to the best use. Okay.